Hi, good evening, everyone, once again, and good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from. And thank you all for making time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening, morning, afternoon for this important meeting. So, my name is Faiza. I'm a cybersecurity professional, and I'll be your moderator for today's Ghana ICANN 85 readout. So, to set the tone, ICANN hosts three meetings each year. So, the general meeting, a policy forum, and also a community forum, and each serve a different purpose in shaping how the internet's naming systems are governed. And we've just had the ICANN 85 general meeting in Mumbai, which brought together stakeholders from different regions across the globe. And I'm especially proud to note that we had a strong participation from Ghanaians, both online and in person. This evening session is a collaborative effort between EGIGFA, ISOC Ghana, and also the GDNR. And we are here today to unpack key insights, experiences, and takeaways from the meeting. So I hope you stick and stay with us. Moving on, I'm going to introduce our guests, right? So we are honored to have with us individuals of the ICANN community. So first we have Rita. I'm sorry if I murder your name. Yeah, so we have Rita, who is the 2026 ICANN Community Excellence Award. And it's a well-deserved recognition of her immense contribution into the ecosystem. Rita, thank you so much for joining us this evening, especially considering the time difference. I believe it's already quite late where you are, and we are truly grateful and appreciate the time. We also have Hadia. I'm sorry if I'm murdering your name. I'm sure like when I call you, you'll be able to pronounce your full name, but I'm sorry if I'm murdering the name. So Hadia is the chair of AFRALO, whose leadership continues to shape regional engagement within ICANN. So you are both welcome for today's meeting. Moving on, I'll hand it over to Rita to give us a short speech. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, Faiza, and thank you, Raymond, Godsway, and everyone who's invited me here. And it's great to see a national readout happening of ICANN 85. Incidentally, you also have a board member, Carine, who is here in the call participating. You could always invite her impromptu to share a few words if she is willing to. So thank you for having me. ICANN 85, as you mentioned, Faiza, was a community forum which is of a longer duration. And I'm sure many of you would be discussing more on what other things you had. One good thing for me was it was in our country, in India, it was in Mumbai. So that was also a plus point for us, not much traveling. But overall, it was a good meeting because there was a lot of things which were discussed. And I'm sure you will be discussing more on it. Something like the domain abuse, which is a huge thing across the globe, even Ghana and other countries. There was developments which were made in universal acceptance. There was a lot of discussion about the next round, and along with the next round there were discussions a bit on the applicant support program which was conducted over that period of time. The other thing which was also discussed a lot was on the regional internet registries, the registration data request services, etc., which is all important for most of the developing countries, including Ghana. So I'm sure you would be discussing more on this. So I would not be speaking much on it, but I think it's a very good initiative that you are doing. Those who have been to the ICANN meeting, coming back and discussing more with the community on what were the key highlights. And if you also look at what the developments were, as well as take in the Ghanaian perspective and what more needs to be done which could also be taken to Seville. That would be a great thing, I think. Initially, there used to be a lot of national readouts, but I think this is the first one I am attending after a long time. So congratulations to all of you. I did meet quite a few of you at ICANN, and you were very actively engaged. And it is, and I would say that since with these readouts, you're also trying to percolate it down to more community members in the Internet Society or the other communities who have come together for the readout. That is a good process so that there are more voices coming out from Africa and even from Ghana to these discussions. Else, many times the discussions or the policies, when they are framed, are very Western-centric or the global north-centric, whereas most of the internet users are coming from our parts of the world. And I do see you have a fellow also who's going to speak. So it would be great to hear more from the fellow perspectives. And I think I have finished off my 3 minutes time. So all the very best with your discussion. I'm sorry I would not be able to stay for most of the time, but anytime you need any help, any updates you would require, we would be happy to share it at any time. So thank you so much for inviting me. If you have any questions, please let me know. And over to you,
Thank you. Thank you so much for honoring the invitation. So we'll move on to Madam Hadia.
Thank you so much, Faiza. And this is Hadia for the record. And I want to recognize also the presence of our board member, Catherine Adeya. Maybe I can give her like a minute from my 3 minutes allocated to me if you allow me.
We actually have a minute for her, so don't worry.
Okay, thank you so much. If we could have the just one slide that I sent today. First, of course, I would like to congratulate you on this readout and also on the fantastic work that Ghana is actually doing and the amount of participation that's coming from Ghana. And the first 2 sessions I actually want to highlight. The first is the AFRALO African Think Tank Community Engagement Research and Dialogue session. And Godsway Kubi actually was one of the presenters, and I'm sure he can talk about this more. The other session that I would like to highlight is the large regional leaders meeting. We have also links to those 2 sessions. I will speak briefly about the first session, and the reason I would like to speak about it because it's a transition to the AFRALO African sessions at ICANN meetings. So at ICANN meetings for 15 years now, we had an AFRALO African session at each and every ICANN meeting. And during this session, what we usually do is that we discuss a statement that the community has drafted. Going forward, we would like also to keep this practice, but to keep it in a more research-based way. So what this session was about, the objectives of the session actually included analyzing AFRALO's positions on 4 topics selected by the presenters by analyzing AFRALO statements over the years regarding the selected topics. And Godsway was with us. He presented on the topic of data security and DNS integrity evolution. The other 3 topics that we discussed were universal acceptance and IDNs, and the presentation was by Motagaki Cliff. And also we had bridging the digital divide. This was discussed by Millennium Anthony, and DNS abuse by Astway Nigash. The outcome, of course, I must say that all 4 presenters made enormous effort and they had brilliant presentations. And since we have Godsway with us today, I would like to extend my thanks to him again. And the outcomes of this session included that we found out that there was always recognition by ICANN board and ICANN.org to AFRALO statements. So ICANN Board of Directors, as well as senior and subject matter experts from ICANN.org, always attended the sessions. The interaction between AFRALO and the ICANN Board has created a constructive feedback tool in which community concerns are heard, clarified, and incorporated into broader organizational thinking. Also, participation of ICANN org staff does reflect that AFRALO contributions are viewed as meaningful regional inputs rather than purely symbolic statements. Also, we did also realize the value of AFRALO statements as institutional knowledge. AFRALO statements developed over the years represent a significant body of collective and compound knowledge, reflecting the region's perspective on key ICANN policy issues. So participants recognize that this work should continue and be further strengthened. So this is also one of the takeaways. Looking forward, AFRALO may benefit from adopting a more focused, research-based approach, whereby statements are supported by structured analysis. And let's go ahead and speak about ICANN86. An email will be going out to AFRALO members regarding the statement of ICANN86. We have also mentioned this during AFRALO monthly call, which was on the 1st of April. When analyzing AFRALO statements, we discovered that we have 11 statements focusing on transparency and accountability. So this is the highest number of statements focusing on a single topic, which is transparency and accountability. And given the ongoing community work on the review of reviews, and there was, by the way, a session on the review of reviews during a not large session on the review of reviews during the ICANN85 meeting. ICANN86 could serve as an opportunity to conduct structured analysis of these 11 statements, to identify gaps, lessons learned, and areas where concerns remain unresolved, develop a consolidated AFRALO risk perspective on next steps for improving ICANN accountability and transparency mechanisms, translate the resulting analysis into a new AFRALO statement, providing timely input into the current review of reviews work stream. So this is an invitation to all of you to take a look at those 11 statements, and if you would like to present at if you would like, join the team. We will draft a statement and present it at ICANN86. I would also add briefly that Godsway also had a follow-up on his session that could also be a topic for an upcoming ICANN meeting. With this, I would like to thank you again, and thank you for having me, and thank you for the great work that you are all doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hadia. Moving on, before I invite our organizers to give us their welcome message, we have a very important person in our midst. So we have Dr. Carine, who is the Africa rep to ICANN. Hi, Dr. Carine.
Carine is my younger sister. I didn't know my sister. She's actually called Carine, but I'm Catholic.
Yeah, country, sorry.
Boys proud. Honestly, this is such an honor. I thought I would just be a fly on the wall and nobody would notice me because I was very interested in this readout, and congratulations to everybody who's organized it. I thought this was an opportunity for me sometimes just to listen to what people understood or what people took away from the meeting, because nothing beats first-hand information. And I saw a lot of that in ICANN85. Congratulations to all of you who participated. As Hadia talked about the AFRALO, I was really impressed at the kind of analysis the fellows came up with. And Hadia, I agree with you, there's topical issues there that can be taken forward. But one of the things I'd like to advise maybe people who are first-timers or people who may not be used to ICANN, a meeting like that, always look at something like the blog of the chair to see where the board is focusing their attention on their workshop before any key meeting. It's very important because even if you come up in the corridors, you know it's a topical issue in the board's mind and they'll be addressing it somehow or trying to find information during the meeting. And then look at the post blog of the CEO or anybody, and you'll see that some of the key things, Hadia has talked about them, I think, and things like the 2026 round. Of course, you know very much that was a very topical issue for us. But if you notice, we had a board meeting last week, and these are follow-up issues. The board is now seeking input on the additional funds for the 2026 round applicant support program. So look out for some of those things, and these are now follow-up issues. Of course, we are looking at issues of the strategic planning and a number of issues that have been raised. Look through the finances. But I think what I personally would like to see more of, and I saw a lot of that engagement, is more engagement from the African community where it's possible, whether it's up on that mic, whether it's addressing issues, and honestly seeing an improvement in that warms my heart greatly. So being in this meeting, I had somebody counting at the beginning, and I think he reached 30. Whoever was counting with the mic on, it's not about the numbers. It's about the quality that's going to come from this meeting, and I'm already seeing quality. So congratulations, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Carine. So moving on to
Carine is my younger sister.
Sorry.
I'll introduce
Oh my
it.
God.
I'll introduce you to her. Get in touch offline.
I keep saying Carine. I'm sorry. Dr. Catherine. Yeah. So let's move on to hear a welcome message from our organizers. They all have 2 minutes. So do we have GDNR? Yeah.
Registry, and we want to also support this occasion of the ICANN Readout. Congratulations to the organizers, and also especially to Godsway, the busybody, always active and with the rest of your team. And I see something quite unique today in terms of representation. You reached out widely, and also in the spirit of multi-stakeholderness, you are bringing people together. I think you must be congratulated on this. And we are also from the GDNR will support you in all the ways we can to see the integration and also the expansion of our domain name systems. Again, I just want to encourage everybody who's participated and who will be willing to participate in other ICANN meetings to also stay and learn. But one nugget I'll leave with you is that as much as we'll be able to read out and bring out the distinct areas of discussions from ICANN meeting, we should also try to break down some of the concepts to, as much as possible, people who would not understand some of the technical terms and make it relatable as everyday internet use. So again, congratulations and thank you so much. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Queen Fu. So we'll move on to EGIGFA. Dr. Dr. Carine. Do you have Dr. Carine here from EGIGFA?
Hi, Faisal.
Hi, Carine.
It's amazing. When you was Dr. Catherine, you said Dr. Carine. When you said Dr. Carine, you said Dr. Catherine. Anyway. All right, so team, good evening. And I believe I'm audible enough. And then it's a pleasure from ICANN85 to always be associated with this crop of partners. We've done quite some work together. That's with the Ghana Domain Names and the Registry, as well as the AU team. On behalf of all of us from EGIGFA, we just want to thank all our partners for agreeing together. Yes, I haven't forgotten to mention ISOC. Forgive me for that. So it's a pleasure to do this together as always. So we thank you for agreeing to do this with us as well. So thank you. Let's have a fruitful conversation. And then I remain Carine from the EGIGFA team. So now I'm actually saying this on behalf of the EGIGFA team. So Faisal, back to you. Only this is Carine. And then the other one is Catherine.
Thank you, Carine. And we have Maud from ISOC Ghana.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Sorry, I can't really show my face.
No problem.
Currently at the hospital, but anything for our community, we are always engaged. Thank you for putting this together. ICANN has always been a place where we are always overwhelmed with the things happening in the ecosystem. You might think you know, but you get there and realize you don't know. And when you put your eyes to the ground, it gives you a good leverage to have new knowledge and then meeting new people. I'm excited to be here. Some of our members are here. Everybody here, I'm sure, are members of ISOC. So everybody, ISOC is here. And we are ready to learn. And thanks very much.
Thank you too. Thank you all. Thank you to our organizers. We are moving on to the business for today. So I would like to bring all the speakers on board. They'll do a self-introduction before we go into the main readout. So in no particular order, we have Stephen, if you are ready. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Stephen, the head of business of the GDNR Design Group, and I'm also a student of ICANN Institute of Technology. I'm an ICANN fellow, a member of ISOC, and I've been in the space for some time now. So I had opportunity to virtually join ICANN85, and I'm here to share my experience from it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sule.
Hello to everyone. My name is Abdulrahman. I work with the Association of African Universities as an IT officer and a coordinator for the Universal Acceptance Project. The AAU is working with ICANN to advance universal acceptance to our member universities. AAU has over 425 member universities, and we are trying to get their systems to be UA compliant and to also introduce UA into their academic curricula. I was an ICANN fellow at the ICANN85 Community Forum, and I'm here to share my experience. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Bilal.
All right.
Yeah.
Good day to all of you. I think I'm quite excited being on this platform today. This is my first time having a Zoom ICANN discussion, a session like this. And then I'm very proud to be here. We have so many good personality here. Currently from Africa, Ghana Domain Name Registry, a personal assistant to the acting director. And then I was part of the team who attended the ICANN in Mumbai, India. And I'm also here to share a little thought I had over there, and then what I see and what I learned to share with the group. And then hopefully we'll learn more on the ground. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So last but not the least, we have Godsway.
Yes, all right. So good evening, everyone. My name is Godsway, an IT consultant and also a cyber risk analyst with Deloitte Ghana. And my first time in person ICANN participation. Over the years, we've been active online, but then it feels good to be participating on site, and happy to be here and also to share my insights of what I got from it and how best we could keep the engagement going. Thank you all.
Thank you. So our guests are literally some of the participants that attended the ICANN85, and they are here to share their experiences and also takeaways from the meeting. So we are going to dive into the main readouts. So let me start by to the speakers. Let me start by taking us back to your overall experience at ICANN85. So for many people, right, one of the highlights of these meetings is finally meeting in person the people they've interacted with online. As Godsway said, he's been interacting online, but this is first in-person meeting. So was this your first in-person, or was this your first face-to-face ICANN meeting? If so, how did that compare with your virtual engagements? And we would also love to hear, I'm sure I'm not just the only one, so we'd also love to hear, going into the meeting, I'm sure you probably had certain expectation. And then looking back now, how did that actual expectation or experience measure up?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it's been a great session for me, especially for it being my first time experience. And ICANN85 actually was a defining milestone for me, particularly because it's, like I said, a first time experience. And what stood out immediately was the depth of multi-stakeholder engagement, where you are not just listening to sessions, you are part of it. You could be able to see sitting alongside experts, policymakers, registrars, registries, and one of the most powerful among all was meeting individuals where I had only interacted with them online through mailing lists and working group. Some could see my badge and just say, "Hey, Godsway, I know you," and then I just keep smiling. because I was active online. So the name has been in the system. So I was happy that people were also able to see the name and just say that, hey, this guy, I've been seeing you. That's what I was hearing from almost everybody. And I think I also met people so this actually transitioned from this virtual space onto to the in-person engagement where at least I'm able to build some trust and also to accelerate some few alignments where I realized some engagement was going on online where I could easily now chip in my consent. That is, I've met the person in person, so we could be able to have a better influence in ICANN and also often happens. And some of these things often happen in the informal spaces. So the in-person event has really helped me actually a lot. And yeah. So on the side of coming from the virtual there, so this being my face-to-face, the difference is just substantial. But for example, I'm part of a working group like the DNS abuse mitigation, and also the discussions were actually very active when you are in person, because I realized that on the side of in person, you can immediately clarify the positions of people and read stakeholders' intent. And I think this actually helped us when it comes to consensus building, particularly when the DNS abuse mitigation PDP started its first session. You could see that this person is in agreement with this directly, not that you are online and not seeing people's intent and assuming that people should agree to what you are saying. So sometimes it's quite interesting, and it also enhances visibility and making people begin that they need to access like your contributions with your presence. And I think moving from virtual to in person is quite a lovely experience that everybody would wish to have, and I'm fortunate to have it and hoping to have it more. And I think, yeah, so my expectations were actually met. So coming into the ICANN85 fellowship as an ICANN fellow and also an active participant, the participation in the ICANN policy works, I expected to deepen my understanding, and also I learned a lot when it came to the ICANN policy development processes, particularly having read the charter book on the DNS abuse mitigation policy, where it's led me on how policies are being passed, the stages it goes through, which I realized that if I hadn't had been here, I would have just been online, session being on, and I'm somewhere doing other thing, and it's something altogether. So what I gained instead was a much clearer view of how influence is built within ICANN, the consistency, the collaborations, and also the strategic engagements. Yeah, so this is actually helpful, and I think it reinforces the idea that Africa's participation, like was mentioned by our guest speakers earlier, it's alone not enough. We need to be deliberate about shaping our outcomes and also engage more. Yeah, that's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Stephen?
Yeah, thank you, Kubi. I believe you really enjoyed the moment, and I saw a lot of your pictures online. So I joined ICANN85 virtually. I joined it online, and the time difference was the fact that we're 5 hours, 30 minutes difference. So when sessions start at 9 in the morning in Accra, you are around 3 a.m. So it depends on the session. I did my best to sometimes stay overnight or wake up early to join the sessions. And with experience, what I realized was that it was a bit colorful. It was a bit colorful and engaging. So if the conversation is a bit colorful and very engaging, you get stuck, or you stay behind the PC and try to listen and also participate, as compared to there have been other ICANN events that I've done virtually that in the midst you get confused or you get lost in the conversation, and with that you, just as Kubi said, you end up doing other stuff whilst the session is ongoing. But with it was very engaging, and the media team, they also did a good job, because after each session, the next moment you go online, it being on LinkedIn or on as you see pictures, and they try to promote the other session that will be happening the next day, and you'll be willing to join and also participate. Other thing I also like to share was the shared application, the shared app that was used. It also helped, because there were certain sessions that were organized during midday around 2, which is 9 a.m. here in Accra, and by then you have to be at work. So these are opportunities that most of those sessions are recorded and you can get back and sometimes listen to it. And if during lunch breaks too, there is time, you'll be able to join and also participate online. So generally, I would say my expectations were met. There were key sessions that I was looking up to because prior to the event, I was selected as an ICANN86 fellow. So there were certain policies that I was really keen to, and I was able to join those policy sessions, and I really had what I was expecting out of it.
Thank you for sharing. Bilal?
It was amazing in Mumbai with the ICANN session. And then I was very glad because when you attend an ICANN conference like this, it's all about making friends. You are welcome in any kind of session. It's not that a specific session that when you come, you shouldn't have to go here or you don't have to enter here. And then our boss, that is wisdom. Yes, they've really done well. Talking about the hospitality, it's 100% massive. And then thank the ICANN community for handling everything the way it is. And I'm hoping that I'll keep on learning a lot from ICANN, and then I'll push in for another conference, hopefully, as it's coming soon. Yeah, this is the little I can say because we are still learning. ICANN is very tough in some way, but I'm sure when you learn, you would be perfect in the near future. So that's what we are hoping to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Bilal. And finally, Sule.
Hello to everyone again. So ICANN85 was my first face-to-face ICANN meeting. I joined ICANN78 virtually, and then ICANN82 virtually as well. Not all the sessions, but just a few sessions that I joined. So it was good to have been there physically, and even more so as a fellow. I'll take part through my journey as a fellow. I first put in an application. In the shortlist email, they saw you, in case someone doesn't attend, you might be considered. So I kept checking, refreshing my inbox, checking to see. Then the second time I applied again, I got shortlisted again. I was like, maybe the third time I might get through. The third time, no shortlist. I was like, how? What happened? Then I tried the fourth time. So like I say, the third time may not always be the chance. Maybe the fourth time is. So I got selected, and then I got to participate physically. It was a wonderful experience. Coincidentally, Mr. Raymond was my mentor, and then we've all met participating in the UA Day event. So it was a nice experience traveling together from Accra all the way to Mumbai, checking out of the airport to the hotel, the conversations, picking up our badges the day before. Everything seemed very well organized. ICANN really did well with the tags. You go there, you pick up your tag, you pick up the lanyards, you go pick up your souvenirs, you go check out the venues, then you leave to your hotel, you hang around. So for us, that very day on the set was the day we started meeting people. As Godsway mentioned, he was our star guy. Everyone said Godsway because they knew him from his participation online. We got to meet some other fellows as well, have here and there. Then we left. So it was a wonderful experience being there physically, joining most of the sessions, the mandatory one for fellows as well, and then the ones that you join based on your preference. One thing they usually tell us is, ICANN is open to everyone. You can walk to anyone, say hello, if you ask for a picture, introduce yourself. We got to meet Dr. Carine. She was leaving, and then we accosted her, asked for pictures. We took turns taking picture with her. We met Hadia after the reception. I think was on the Monday or Wednesday, the official opening. We asked photographs from her as well. She obliged. And then I met Mr. Kirk, the ICANN CEO, in the hallway. I said hello. I introduced myself to him and I asked for a picture. And then, yeah, great. It just buttressed that point that you could walk up to anyone in an ICANN meeting, say hello, introduce yourself, and then get to have conversations. On meeting people you correspond with virtually, we met the UA programs coordinator. We sent emails back and forth in organizing UA days as well. So it was very good to finally meet her in person and then say hello to her. So generally, it was a wonderful experience moving from joining just 1 or 2 sessions virtually to actually sitting through the mandatory sessions as a fellow, and then the other sessions based on the community, based on the groups that are of interest to you. And I enjoyed it. I happened to be fasting during it, so I couldn't get to enjoy most of the snacks that were served. But yeah, maybe another time, hopefully I'll get to enjoy that. But all in all, it was a wonderful experience. Yesterday I posted in our fellowship group that yesterday was actually day 1 month of our day 1 as ICANN fellows. So it's pretty amazing how the time has flown from getting selected, going through the fellowship, the mentoring process, getting your visa, getting your tickets from your Amtrak, having to reschedule because missiles were flying all over, finally arriving, going through the process. It was a wonderful experience, and it's something to read over and over again. Yes, it was a wonderful experience.
Thank you. It's so refreshing listening to you all. I kept smiling all through it. I'm just hoping that the next ICANN meeting, we would have an increased number of participation in the next ICANN meeting. But yeah, let's move on. So I'm a cybersecurity professional, right? So from a cybersecurity perspective, and also drawing from my experiences working on issues around DNS abuse, I've seen how critical this topic is, not just at policy level, but also in real world incident response and enforcement. And also with ICANN across like many sessions, DNS abuse seemed to be a reoccurring theme. And I would like to like applaud ICANN for taking DNS abuse like serious and having discussion around this topic. As attendees, what stood out for you, or from your participation, what stood out to you in how the community is currently approaching DNS abuse? And also, do you think these efforts are effectively translating into regions like Africa?
So I'll just say something small and then
Okay.
we'll see. So yeah, as you rightly said, DNS abuse seems to have been a priority during not really priority, but it was a recurring issue topic during ICANN85. The policy development process, working groups. I had quite a number of sessions. I don't know if it's 4 or 5 sessions, making recommendations and discussions here and there. But my takeaways from all of that is ICANN may perhaps see the importance of taking action to stop DNS abuse, but the outstanding issues may be the difference in approach on how to handle it. So perhaps once commitments that have been made are operationalized, I'm sure maybe in the next 2, 3, 4 meetings, there will be more improvements in what is being done to address it. So yeah, that's all I can say.
Godsway.
Okay, I think I missed one thing. Before I respond to you, I missed one thing where I want to highlight. The number of times I applied for ICANN fellowship. And I wasn't selected. I applied for, I think, more than 5 times or something. And I keep getting rejection. I wasn't really selected. And this particular one that I was selected, I almost just slipped off. Because when I even said the application, I was like, man, I won't do this again. Let me just focus on my ISOC engagements and the other IGF engagements. Let me just forget ICANN. And at second thoughts, I came back, I was like, no, why not? Let me just give it one try. Because I keep telling people not to give up on certain stuff. Yeah, this is not about giving up, but it's about letting go and refocus it. But then I have to just be like, okay, let me just put in one more time. Let's see how it goes. And I think I was so amazed that this one more time that I said, let me just put in, went through successfully. And at a point where even on the in-person session, Siranush was like, hey, this guy was getting high marks but wasn't getting selected. I was just shocked, because I knew that at a point where you are doing everything right, you are meeting criteria, you are engaging, and you still not getting selected. It's a story I said I will always tell, because I knew I was doing everything right. All the application was right. I was meeting the criteria in there, and Siranush even confirmed it on site. But I didn't just know why I wasn't getting selected. But at the end of the day, to cut the story short, you are not giving up. I tried one more time. So likewise, everybody, as Madam Catherine already said in the chats, you don't have to give up. You might not know what opportunities that are waiting for you. And yes, so back to the DNS abuse issue. Yes, so I think DNS abuse is currently one of the most critical aspects and actively debated issues within ICANN. that, like you always mentioned and Suli also mentioned. And as a participant in this PDP, which is my first policy development process I'm engaging in, and I'm so happy of my mentors trying to putting me on and guiding me throughout this whole process. And I think I had the opportunity to engage directly with ongoing policy development discussions. So I think one of the central themes or concept that is currently being discussed is the concept of associated domain checks, which actually proposes that when an abuse is identified in one domain, registrars should investigate the other domain names to be domain names that are linked to the same registrant. In that case, they're able to track down if this particular registrant is the one you haven't using this or domains to cause this phishing and stuff. So this complexity is actually a good thing. And another key takeaway is the shift from this whole process or this whole reactive to a more proactive approach. Is more of a what constitutes sufficient evidence, because the debate has always been around, because if somebody reports a domain name, how then do you confirm that what the report is legit or is not legit? So it's a whole thing altogether. I know within the community, someone was like, DNS abuse mitigation. Somebody has reported, quickly you remove the person. And I was like, no, it still need a process. If I've reported doesn't mean if I've reported you doesn't mean your domain. It might be that your domain or it's not even a fault. Maybe it's just a clone, something that is being used, or even the report is even a fake report. So I think it goes through a whole process. And another debate was also more about how far registrars' responsibility should extend, and also how to avoid overreach that could impact legitimacy. Like what I said earlier, some may be legitimate users, but because somebody reported that domain, the person is in trouble. So I think for Africa, so this is particularly important because many registries and registrars operate with limited resources, like we always say. I think on one of our calls, African calls, somebody mentioned whenever they report domain name issues, they don't get any response, they don't get any feedback within the African community. I was like, okay, that's something that will usually happen or has happened. And there are capacity gaps that is also detected in there, and response mechanisms that we could leverage on. So I think this means Africa must actively contribute in some discussions like this. So I happen to represent the NPOC, that is a non-for-profit organization constituency that is within the NCSG community. And so I think Africans need to wake up to contribute to and ensure that policies are practically and also inclusive. We have a lot of concerns, but then we can only get them addressed by engaging and making sure our concerns are being heard and implementations cut across different contexts. Yes, so that is a brief, I would say, is happening around the DNS abuse development. And also, I think we moved from the 4 in-person meeting we had. We now do the weekly ones where we keep tracking down the issues one at a time to make sure we find out a solution that cuts across other contexts as well, to make sure everybody have their share in the policy work that is currently ongoing. So that is a brief I could say for now. Thank you.
And let's keep engaging so that policies will be inclusive of Africans' perspective. Bilal, yeah. Right. Okay, Stephen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Fraser. Yeah, just as the other speaker said, DNA abuse was very key in most of the sessions. And joining, I was looking at there were three main, more of the non-contra party part. So I attended at large sessions. I did attended the non-profit as NCSG sessions. And I'm also building interest in IPC. So intellectual property, their content, I was also building interest in them. So I also did attend some of their sessions. So one thing I realized was that the non-profits was mainly focusing on having more of a definition, a real definition for what DNA abuse is. Because when it is left that broad and we don't have a technical abuse or like technical definition for it, this can easily lead to censorship, right? Because per ICANN's mandate and each contract that it has with the registrars, it is more there to look at technical stuffs, not content. They are not looking at the content. So if a website has certain content in it, it is not looking at that, but looking at stuff like malware, phishing, netbots, and other stuff like that. People use DNS for. So what the conversation was around having a definite or a clear definition for it. But when you look at the IPS, when I done some of their sessions, so I realized they were also looking at the legal abuse where people are infringing on others' rights. People are using registering names that look similar to registered trademarks owned by members of their constituent and just taking advantage of those things. So they're also pushing where there can be a bit of check when it comes to the legal part of it. Because if, let's say, we have leaders, and somebody registered domain name with the does he just the A just change the alphabet to a different domain name and care isn't taken, or he's using his website to sell fake products owned by their members. What can they do? Can you report for such a website to be taken down? I don't know. That's when you are reporting something, that's content. So that was I could see that there was a bit of opposition at this side and at the other side. So that was one of the stuff that I observed with DNL abuse. And also, I attended a session which looked at human rights, where we're looking at integrating human rights in most of the policy works. So when it comes to DNS abuse to PDP, how can human rights will be like? How can we integrate human rights into it? Because you realize if there is an issue, there's a scenario that one speaker thought about that if the window of the house has a problem, it doesn't mean we should tear down the whole house. So when it comes to taking action about DNL abuse, there should be something known as proportionate. We should look at it. A whole website, a page of the website is having a problem. Why take down the whole website? Whilst we can look at that page and also be measured, because if we are not that measured, as state parties and other bigger organizations can easily take advantage to abuse the lesser ones. So we should be measured. And I think we also made mention of when a report is being made, and just that the report is made, the registrar take down the website. What if the website has been hacked? So when you look at the global south, when you look at most of the members of the non-profits, then the non-commercial stakeholder group, they are institutions, small NGOs, they don't have money. Their website can be hacked and be used to perpetrate certain crime. So why do they punish the person who is a victim? So those are some of the discussions that I picked concerning DNS abuse.
ICANN meetings can be quite packed with sessions happening in parallel. So I'm sure everyone had to make some tough choices. Could you each share one or two sessions that really stood out to you and what key insights you took away from those sessions?
Yes, one of the main session, that is the NCLG the policy committee, they are working, the committee work. That's one of the sessions. They did 2 sessions and I did attend both sessions. Just as I said, so the sessions were mainly on the DNS abuse. So we looked at the DNS abuse, then also looked at the applicant support program, which is ongoing. And I think it is the right way to go, because you realize if more support is given to members of the group who are people from the global south, when that with many people from Africa and other places, so that they can also own their domain names. That is so those guys. So I did attend that session, and also I attended a session by the at large. So I attended most of the at large sessions, and there was also discussion on the DNS abuse, as said earlier, where I get to find out that they have a course on phishing that they've developed, and they're currently piloting it to enable people to take it and pick the feedback to educate more people on what phishing is about and how they can stay safe and even being able to identify it. So basically, those are the 2 main sessions that I can talk about.
My 2 sessions will be the session where the fellows met the board. The fellows and the next gens met the board. It was quite interesting having a session with the board, listening to them, share insights, and then having to ask questions as fellows and as for the next gens as well to ask questions on a normal, like in a typical working environment. It's not very common for maybe say staff to maybe get to meet the board on a daily basis. So it was really good to have to meet the board, sit with them, ask questions, listen to what they have to say, and then hear from them as board members what they have, the future of ICANN, issues that they are discussing, and then just allowing us to ask them questions. I remember asking them a question about what issues that they think that those upcoming should take interest in. And then we were asked to perhaps look at the strategy document and then see where we can make inputs, make suggestions, and then reach out to them about it, what we can offer them. The other session will also be the knowing the community sessions, where reps from the various communities came to speak about their groups, the non-commercial stakeholders group, the government advisory group, all the other groups. So it was really good. The fellow, or you get to take some courses on the ICANN Learn. Your mentor also takes you through some sessions. So it was good to hear from them firsthand, the community leaders hearing from them firsthand, discuss about the workings of the various groups, the government advisory groups, the non-commercial stakeholders group, the MPOP, root server, system advisory committee, and all the other groups. So it was really good listening to them. It made it easy for you to really see where your interest is and where you can align. So those are my two sessions that stood out for me. Thank you.
Yeah, so the sessions that stood out for me, but before that, I noticed one thing within the DNS abuse PDP development. I don't know if Hadia is still here, but I noticed that each constituency is just representing their constituency, but we don't have any concerns as to how African communities perspectives are also being heard. But I feel, because at the first when I started engaging, I realized that I've seen that everybody is interested in what their constituency is saying about the whole issue about DNS abuse. But there isn't anyone mentioning anything about continent level or anything. But I don't know. I'm hoping to just chip in that in one of our meetings to see the concerns that comes in. And aside that, sessions that stood in for me, I can't go without mentioning the DNS abuse session. But that's one of the sessions that stood mostly for me, very good for me, where I have to actively participate in my first PDP. And another one that basically stood out more for me was the second one, where I had it's more of a DNSSEC focus session where I co-presented with a colleague from Ghana here, that is Isaac Sechi from MTN Ghana, where this session was particularly impactful because it moved from a policy discussion to more of a real-world implementation success, where we shared Ghana's DNSSEC validation journey, where validation rates improved significantly from, I think, 24% to about 98%. And so that is a brief of the presentation that we had during the DNS session. And another one was basically the session with the ICANN board, where we had the opportunity to engage directly with the ICANN board, particularly the CEO, where I had a special question for the CEO. And I noticed my question was also answered nicely, and I got to interact with the board as well, where engaging with the board directly was a fun moment and also an interesting moment. So I had to have a question for them just to get their thoughts on what is happening. These are a few sessions that I see more interesting among others, and I think we can do more. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we have someone that just joined quietly. We have Siranush, who is fellowship manager. Hi, Siranush. I'm sorry if I'm murdering you.
No, I was enjoying listening. Thanks.
Thank you. Could you say hi to our audience?
Absolutely. Hello, my name is Siranush, and it's pleasure and honor to be here and listening to fellows who are great, amazing professionals. And I was impressed by the level of professionalism and level of engagement these folks bring to the table. And Godsway, yes, you are now my star. You know that, right? After so many cancellations, not being there, selected, this guy continued his passion, and that's what matters. That's what matters, and that bring all of us to this level of engagement. So I'm proud of all these guys who did amazing job at ICANN85, and I'm sure this is the starting point. I look forward seeing these names in many other forums and on the level which their voice will make a difference for the entire world. My congratulations, and Ghana School on Internet Governance is producing amazing professionals. Keep up, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Godsway is our star. Yes, so Godsway, I understand you delivered a presentation during the African section, which I mean, it's a big deal. So could you give us a quick highlight of your presentation and how the session went?
Yes, thank you so much, Siranush, for the acknowledgement. I really appreciate, yes, and thank you so much for the opportunity as well. Yes, so I co-presented some few sessions at the African level where that was the African ICANN think tank, where I presented on DNS security and DNS integrity, particularly from the African perspective. So what actually went on was I explored how positions from African stakeholders have evolved over the years. So by looking through all the statements from ICANN71, yes, I think I targeted 5 years period. So over the 5 years, how African community has the issues around DNS security, data security, and how it has evolved within the African community, especially in areas like the DNSSEC as well. Then we came up with a strategic overview where we highlight on what has been done, what needs to be done, and what has been done, what is being done, and what needs to be done. So that is a strategy that we highlighted on. And this key highlight was demonstrating that Africa is not just participating, because I realized that there was consistency in getting response from the ICANN board on every statement that we make to the board, and which is one thing that I always appreciate. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, so ICANN board has time for us, which is a good thing that African need to leverage on. And we thank our African rep as well, Madam Carine, for always pushing us. I know. Thank you so much for that as well. So I think African is not just participating, but I think increasingly shaping a conversation around trust, security, and also issues around resilience in DNS security as well. So that is basically a brief overview on the presentation on the think tank. And my key takeaway was more of the session actually reinforces the importance of coordinated voices, and while participation has improved, there's been a need that there should be a stronger alignment across all stakeholder groups. That is to ensure that there is priority for the African community, such as capacity building and infrastructure resilience that we always speak about. And when it comes to, like you mentioned earlier, inclusive policy discussions, Africans to be involved, I think these are effectively represented. And some of the pathways for this. So I think it's been a great session altogether, and we hope that the community keep up with this stack to be able to keep us informed, get us know what we've done over the years, so that we don't keep repeating what we've already done, and just because we want a session to fit into that timeline that we've been given, we just pick up any session and fix in there. So I think it's something that when it's being continued, like Hadia also mentioned earlier, we should be able to make great progress and also get to know where we stand and where we will stand. Yes, I will look at the future. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Abdulrahman, your hands are up.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm Abdulrahman Abotaleb for the record. I'm actually from Yemen, which is APAC country, but yeah, I just want to see some comments. I'm very impressed by this amazing group of, as what Siranush mentioned, professional people from Ghana and their effective participation, not just in about Ghana, but about the Africa in general. And to be honest, this is the first time for me to attend readout session per country. I don't know if it is something popular, I mean, inside ICANN community, but to attend Ghana readout, this is something new for me. And the people, the guys from Ghana, I met a lot of guys from Ghana, in not just in ICANN, but in many other events related to internet governance. And they are very aware about these issues, and they are very collaborative with others. Sometimes even cross-border projects or initiative, you can find people from Ghana, from Africa. They remind me like the Nepalese guys from our APAC community. Nepal is a small country, but Nepalese guys everywhere related to the internet governance issue, whether in ICANN or ISOC or any other place. Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for your good company in ICANN 85 in Mumbai, and I hope I can see you again and to collaborate with you in any projects or initiative in the future for the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Abdulrahman. We are getting close to the end of the readout. Just to all the speakers, for those listening who may be interested in joining ICANN ecosystem or even attending future meetings, I know it can be very overwhelming sometimes, especially when it's your first time. So, based on your experiences so far, what advice would you give to someone looking to get involved or attend their first ICANN meeting?
Okay, so basically, before attending, you need to spend time like understanding the ICANN structure, the support organizations, the advisory committees, all the stakeholder groups. Also know the key issues on the agenda, and then basically maybe read more about it, maybe what was said in the previous meeting, and then all get to know about it. Also know the ICANN communities, and then find where your interest fits, and then when you join either virtually, you maybe participate in the sessions by asking questions in the comments, or when you are there physically, you meet people, introduce yourselves to them. And then also most importantly, you need to maybe decide how you want to participate. If you want to participate physically, take advantage of the fellowship, apply. If you don't get to, you keep applying until you get to. If you don't get to, you join virtually until you keep applying. Basically, that's what the advice that recommendation have for people who want to participate. Understand the structure, know the issues on agenda, know the ICANN community, find where your interest is, and then you'll be fine when you participate.
Thank you. Godsway.
All right. So, like someone who wants to start. So, like I said, for me, before I came to the in-person, I was fortunate enough to have had more than 5 virtual engagements. That is virtual meetings from ICANN71 thereabout. Yeah. But starting by somebody who is interested, at least what I did was, first of all, when I was introduced to ICANN, I have to what I want to do. So my expertise that I have, I'm from a technical background, trying to get into the policy. So I identify how best that my technical fits into policy. What am I there to contribute? So normally you identify what you want to do, or first of all look at your expertise. This is what you have. Okay, the community you are coming into. How then do you fit into yourself? How then do you fit yourself? So after you identify where your interest lies, whether policy or technical, and whether end user advocacy, then you join there are a lot of stakeholder groups that you would even be tired. Some you will even be tired of if you want to put yourself everywhere, because every group is ready to accept you. I noticed that during the in-person as well. I noticed that I connected with some few people. Later when I came back home, I was like, no, if I can engage in all, but if I go in all, one out in one, I get tired. So because all align with my interest. That is one funny thing about it. The other parts aligns with my interest, but then you still have to make sure where can you feel comfortable to start with, or which community allows that flexibility. Which I started from the NCSG and NCUC community, where there was much flexibility. The people were welcoming. They had to hold my hand. Got some few mentors who know what I'm capable of and also put me on to be able to get engaging. Then this is where we are now, and we keep engaging. So after you join the relevant stakeholder group that align with you, then you look at, okay, how then do you leverage your entry points? So leverage the entry point, the ICANN fellowship programs and learning initiatives. So after you've gotten into it and you realize, okay, you are trying your best, trying to put in something, commenting. I think Ghana School of Internet Governance played a role. So I think with the Ghanaian community or within the African community, I will also encourage people that within your region, identify your school of internet governance community, get involved. And I think that is where it all started for me actually as well, to get all these insights and try to build on it. And so after you get into it, you leverage on from fellowships, keep applying. Like I said earlier on, keep applying. The fellowship, but if you have the means to put yourself in person, why not? Like what Bilal did. Yes, Bilal did a great by putting himself out, trying to say, yes, I can participate even without I can sponsorship. But then the fellowship is a good leverage altogether because it gives you access to people as well, and gives you access to a lot of opportunities that you might think of, you might not think of, or even. So after you get into the community, try your best, just be consistent, join mailing lists, and attend working group meetings, and contribute to public comments. So I noticed ICANN rewards sustained engagement over time. That is one thing I noticed. Yes, even though I wasn't getting selected, I was still engaging, trying my best. And I think it worked out along the way. God is so good. So I think it's just about engagement and you're gonna get there. The community is big, but then just start small and align. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephen. And
Continuing from where Godsway ended. So we need to start small, and you start small by first creating your ICANN account. To get an ICANN account, it is free. You don't pay for it. So you just go to ICANN.org, create your ICANN account, and that's where the journey starts. With your ICANN account, you have access to the ICANN Learn platform where you have a lot of resources. So you go into it, take the courses, you look at the various stakeholder group and constituents, and most of them have their courses there that you can take, and you take it for free. Then to attend an ICANN event, you just have to show up. You don't need permission. You just register. All you need is to register and show up. And you can show up in person, you can show up virtually. So if you can't afford to be there in person, take advantage of the virtual events, join virtual. In the beginning, the switch mistakes will always be there. You'll be confused. The switch confusion, the terms you will be bombarded with the terms, and there are a lot of stuff that you won't really grab a concept from the beginning. But this, as Godsway said, if you are consistent and you always engage, meaningful engagement, and you ask relevant questions, and you want to know, I believe the ecosystem is made in a way that it is easy for you to go through it. And the last one I would also like to add is that one of the easier ways to go into ICANN is through the at large. It's through the at large. And luckily for us in Ghana, we have EGIGFA and we have ISOC Ghana, which are all at large structure. So be a member of any of these organizations. ISOC, you go to ISOC Ghana online, you apply, you become a member. The moment you become a member of ISOC Ghana, you're a member of at large, because ISOC Ghana is an at large structure. Every fact you organize the Ghana School of Internet Governance, Ghana SIG, if you apply and you have been selected as a fellow, there is also training available to lead you to that path. So first of all, get involved locally, start locally. Yeah, at large structures here, get involved with them. Because I realize that there are other constituents or how do you call it? Advice. Isn't that with them you have to pay. You have to pay membership before you join. I was looking at the IP, Internet Property Constitution, there you pay. So if there's a part that you can join free and still get your voice heard, why not? So you can join at large, and the non-profits part of it there, if you own a domain name, a non-profit domain name, or you have an organization which is into non-commercial activities, it is also a way for you to join the community. And people are willing to help, people are really there to assist. And one thing that makes ICANN even more interesting is that you meet people who are ready to also give back, to mentor you. It's like ICANN gives and people are ready to also give back. So you see fellows. We have Raymond Amrita, who is a fellow returning as a mentor to mentor other fellows. So you realize that the ecosystem is built in a way that you get involved, you are trained, build capacity, and also give back to others who are coming. The later I would like to add the fellow, how do you call it? All speakers are also available in case of anything. They can easily reach out to us, and we can also mentor and assist them.
thank you, Bilal.
With that, it's not difficult when you are always online. And then I can give example, someone like me, I saw IGF first, and then later on I came across ICANN, and then I tried to apply it myself, but I could not get access to it. I think later on I have to engage one of my bosses here in Ghana called Wisdom Donko. That is the acting director at the Ghana Domain Name Registry. I had a very deep conversation with him concerning that, and then he's telling me that I am a businessman, but if I am willing to take on this, it's really going to help my career in the way forward. But it's really going to be very tough for me because I could not start this early. And I said, yes, I want to do it. He should help me get into it. So from there, I think I applied it and then I got access to ICANN. Then with this traveling, I think I supported myself with the help of Godsway, I think, and then wisdom, yes. I think financially, I supported myself and then really learned a lot from ICANN. I think I want to take us back on my takeaway on the session 1. Yes, kindly forgive me for that. I'm really having a network issue here. I think I have to give you a little presentation here. With the session 1, it's clearly explained how ICANN policy actually developed, which is often confusing for newcomers. Yeah, because sometimes you just be looking at the screen and then some of the speakers would want you to answer some question or maybe ask questions and then they would answer it for you. But man, it's not as easy as some of us think. The key ways policy development is a bottom up and the community driving. It's really very important. The session really helped ICANN for me. I understood that the policy here is not imposed. It's build collaboration. And that means anyone who is willing to engage can contribute. That is what I see, because engaging in ICANN brings a lot. Open your mind. You see how the African internet, the internet forum, the way it goes and how it is. So I think Bilal has a lot to read, and then I'm willing to learn. That is why I engage myself into ICANN. So whoever is hearing us, for you to get access to ICANN is very simple. It's all over online. But don't forget, you have to be an ICANN fellow. Yes, without being an ICANN fellow, there are some maybe little sponsorship you need from ICANN to maybe fly, your hotel, your reservation, and the rest. Without being a fellow, that's going to be very difficult. Yes, this is a little I can say with my experience and then my takeaway and then how to come into the system. I wish I can do more during the time coming. Yes. So this is all I can say, sure.
Thank you, Bilal, for sharing. So, forgive me, but I am going to take us back to Godsway's presentation during the ICANN session. So, to the 3 speakers, Stephen, Sule, and Bilal, what were your key takeaways from the ICANN session itself?
Yes, just a brief one. From whatever happened, they indicate that we and just guests at ICANN event, we realized that we are also there to being serving, we are preparing, and we are taking part in the policy development process. You could see that AFRALO have done a lot, and a lot of stuff have been put in there. So it is something that I encourage you continue doing, and I'm happy that the chair has also hit the green flag that subsequent ICANN meetings are going to have set sessions, and it shows that really Africa is here to also be heard when it comes to how our internet is being governed. Bringing it back home, being an Ghana Readout, our star boy also did well. He made us proud, and it shows how Ghanaians are also taking issues of matters when it comes to internet governance very serious. So yeah, that's what I want to say.
Thank you, Stephen.
So the session basically highlighted Africa's growing role in growing influence in internet governance. So you could see that AFRALO had a series of presentations which the fellows were presented to the whole community. They were able to break it down into presentations and presented on it. Because we really killed it, Millie, and then one other person, and then Astaway, was it Astaway? No, the Cliff, yes. So they really did more breaking AFRALO's work over the past few years into pieces and bits for people to understand what AFRALO is doing. My key takeaway basically is that there's Africa's growing influence in internet governance, and AFRALO did very well by giving fellows the opportunity to be able to basically summarize what they've been able to do. It was a very good exposure. You could see the board, and then everybody was happy to see fellows taking up the mantle and then putting themselves out there and representing their motherland. So kudos to Millennium and then Playful led the charge on our behalf.
So as we begin to wrap up this discussion, I would like each of you to share one key takeaway from ICANN85, something that stayed with you or that you think is particularly important for our community here in Ghana.
I think we've actually said a lot in just our last engagements where how someone could engage. But look, from my end, some key takeaways that I would say is more capacity building need to be done. That is one of the reasons I stated when applying for ICANN fellowship is to push more engagements, and I think ICANN engagements is here to stay within the Ghanaian ecosystem through the good works of what the Ghana School on Internet Governance is doing and what the Internet Society Ghana chapter is also doing. And we hope that we will keep pushing more engagement, get people to get involved, that their voices can also be heard. It's not all about the technical experts. It's not all about the big guys. It's not all about the big tech firms. It's you and I voices. Our voices can also be heard. We can also adapt something. And I think all the policies that we see on, I think at the spot when I was behind, before I started tech stuff, when I was behind, I feel these things are being done by big guys. These things are being done by some top people somewhere. But getting closer to the view and still getting closer, I noticed that no, we are all involved. We are all involved in making sure we get things right and our community gets the best out of it. And it's all about the community first, like what I can always prioritize, the community first. So that is why the policy development processes, it starts from the community and goes up to the board for approval. So it's still starts from us. Our voices are being looked up to. So I think it's more engagement that we need to keep up this community moving. And all the speakers said earlier, and we also said, the community is ready to help all of us, because I noticed that everybody is willing to accept you. Supposing you are ready to learn, contribute, and get active, the community is ready to accept you. And we need more future leaders. So I think let's keep engagement, and the Ghanaian community is proud and happy to put this engagement on and keep it up and also spread it across other African countries. And so this is a few key takeaways that I think we could all live with and make from my end. Yes, so let's keep up the engagement, and I think gradually we will get there. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen?
So my key takeaway has to do with the first session that I attended, which kind of summarized all the sessions that I did attend, which looked at the human right aspect of it. Because you realize anytime human right is infringed, those at the bottom, the less privileged, those in the global south, those who are in just what to do, that really suffer the most. So at the current direction where a checklist is being developed that all PDP policies will have a bit of human right aspects in it. So if there's any policy that they are developing, we look at that human right assessment in that policy and take it out. I believe it is a great way to go, because I don't know, when setting it down, it is going to help us the most. We here in Ghana, those we in the global south, they're not the big guys, because the big guys are already there. They can fully accept you. When it comes to us, where the watch is. So when those things are being checked, then everyone is given a chance to also be at the table and to speak. It will go a long way to have a stable and secure internet as we all envision for. Yeah.
Thank you.
My key takeaway from ICANN85 would be a blend of both the ICANN tagline and the Internet Society tagline. One word, one internet, and the internet is for everyone. Everyone should. It was very interesting during the public meeting to see people questioning the board, some very fierce questions just to promote transparency and accountability. So yeah, we are all part of the internet. So let's stay involved, make suggestions, make critique, ask questions, make inputs to the betterment of the internet. Thank you.
So yeah, so the floor is open for any questions from the audience.
Great. Thank you so much for the session. Truly, it's been an exciting one. Here, smiling behind, and nobody can see me. And then I'm happy. It gives you an idea of what happened or what you missed if you were not able to join. So just to add my voice to say that it's truly an insightful one. I think this is the first time EGIGFA is doing this. And I believe we'll continue to do it after every ICANN meeting.
Yeah.
You give a brief of what happens, a way of introducing new members to the community, because if Ghana has more persons with exposure and things like this, the community grows and their impact would be, should I say, will be increasing. So it's important that we take the lead to have this and support the works that are currently being done by all the partners. EGIGFA convening the Ghana School on Internet Governance, the activities of ISOC, AAU, Ghana Domain Names. And then I'm truly excited about what Bilal said, because he gave a perspective from the business angle, which usually, most of the times, if you don't find yourself in the technical space, you think that it's not for you. And this is the gospel that EGIGFA has been preaching, that you don't need to be a technical person, right? An end user from the business perspective, from the academia perspective, we need all hands on deck. So it's truly, so for me, this session, that brief statement that Bilal mentioned is the highlight for me, because it usually gets hidden in most of the conversations we've had. So I'm grateful that he brought that up. That would be encouragement for a lot of people in the business space to get on board. And I'm also excited. He said it clearly, he had to support himself. So there's a lot of lessons there. You don't always need to get things done when looking for somebody to sponsor you, but taking action, sponsoring yourself is the way to go. So thanks for putting this up. And Bilal, thank you for bringing that perspective out. Thank you so much. We'll catch up after the next, that's ICANN 686. We hope to see you all and then additional members. Good night from my side. It's evening here, so good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Carine.
All right.
Any other question or contribution from our audience?
Yeah, good evening. And I would like to thank everyone here, most especially our fellows and participants, for coming out to tell us about their key takeaways from the ICANN85 session. I've joined it because of the time zones, as Stephen said. It was not very favorable to all of us in the world, most especially we in Ghana on my. It was very difficult to join at 3 a.m., but we tried our best to join some of the sessions. I would like to say that I really enjoyed the discussion here, and this is a very good initiative, and thank you all for coordinating this, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mauko. Any other contribution from our audience or questions? Okay, yeah, Doreen.
Thank you, Pfizer, and the ICANN85 Ghana Readout team. I am Doreen, an ICANN85 fellow as well from Uganda. I am really grateful to have joined and listened to the insights from the fellows and those who attended from Ghana. Mine is just to say great insights from the meeting. And I'd also like to invite all of you for the ICANN85 Readout, which for Uganda, we shall be having a readout on Saturday from 11 a.m. That is East African time. So I'll be happy to see everyone. Those of you who are here, maybe we could share more insights for us we took from the meeting. Yes. maybe to our star here, Godsway. I was also glad to say meet other fellows. Yeah.
Thank you, Doreen. Okay, I'd like to invite speakers to share any final thoughts or reflections in no particular order. Anyone can start.
Yeah. I'll just say something briefly. It was great joining this readout and sharing my experience. As Mr. Raymond said in the chat, this is the second Ghana readout. The first one I joined, I spoke, having participated virtually during ICANN78. So it's good to be back in the Ghana readouts. I haven't participated physically. Just want to thank everyone who joined. Madam Hadia, Sir Carine, our fellowship manager, Mama Mia. And I've been thinking during one of the sessions, there was from the GAC, I think they mentioned the Government Advisory Committee. They mentioned this on the lighter side anyway. They mentioned that territories you can apply as a territory under GAC. And I've been wondering, maybe perhaps all the cohorts or fellows can apply as a territory and make Siranush our Prime Minister under GAC. That's on the lighter side. And then thank you to my colleague fellows who joined as well. Abdulrahman, there was good meeting, connecting, eating sahur together, breaking our fast together. Doreen, it was good meeting. We bumped into Doreen on our way back at the airport. Nadis again, it was good. It was wonderful Mongolia conversations as well. Valerie, it was nice meeting you, Valerie. Thank you for joining. You joined from the beginning. Earlier, Samira from Nigeria also joined. Thank you, my colleague fellows who joined as well for this readout. We are available to join you when you host your own versions of readouts as well. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Next.
I would like to, first of all, thank the organizers for putting this together and also share that the internet is a shared resource. So when it comes to vigilance, its policing, it also need to be shared. Everybody needs to get on board. If I can do 3:30 a.m., I believe join, no matter where we are located, internet is there for us to also get involved. So let us all get involved and make the internet we want, which is a safer and a secure internet. I believe we'll be seeing more engagement. We'll be seeing more engagement, and it's search readout goes a long way, even to help with your fellowship application. Because I don't know, you are asked after the fellowship, what are you doing? But Godsway and Abdul can say that after they participate as speakers of a readout, in a way it's helped them to get it. So it's a good thing for us to be doing, and we should all get involved and make it work. Thank you.
Thank you, Godsway.
Oh, I would just like to take the opportunity to, before that, to acknowledge one of my madams, Glenn. Glenn, good to see you here. Yeah, so happy to see you. I would just appreciate the fact that the community is quite big, but the more you get engaging, the more you get close, it's keep looking small. But then we need to just keep up the engagement. ICANN85 actually reaffirmed that the internet's governance is truly a global stage, but participation is still uneven. So for Ghana and the African community, I would just state that the opportunity is clear. We have a lot of leverages. We might just move from participation to influence, and also ensuring that our perspectives shape policies and are being heard that affect our digital future. Yeah, so that is a bit about my end. But again, engagement, yeah, need to happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Sule have appreciated our fellows already. So if I want to mention names, I wouldn't finish today. Our colleague fellows, ICANN85 fellows, thank you all for joining in to support. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Hadia, yeah, you can unmute.
Thank you so much. And I guess let Bilal and others finish, and then I would just like to take like a few seconds. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Carine?
I was also going to take a few seconds. I need to leave, but I really must congratulate all of you. I always joke with people that when I meet young people, when I hear what you're doing, I'm so proud because I'm working myself out of a job. I may be on the ICANN board, but you are the future. And listening to this, I know the future is okay. I can now sleep. and rest knowing the great future board members from Ghana, but now we have to wake up the rest of the continent. All the best. Good night.
Thank you. I think Hadia, yeah, you can speak.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to thank you for allowing me to be part of Ghana's readout. It has been a very vibrant session, interactive, informative. I congratulate you and thank you. And I would like also to mention that AFRALO Universal Acceptance Day is happening on the 13th of May. And the first part of the session includes AFRALO members, ALS, showcasing any successful universal acceptance readiness adoption. This is an invitation to all of you. If you have a success story related to universal acceptance, please reach out and you will be allocated a slot on the 13th of May during AFRALO UA Day. Thank you again and congratulations on this great session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, all too soon, we've come to the end of today's session, and a few key themes really stood out. So, we've heard about the growing importance of Africa's voice in global internet governance, the opportunities that exist for all of us to engage more actively within the ICANN ecosystem. Today's session has also highlighted that issues like DNS abuse and broader internet policy are not just global conversations. They have real implication for us locally and requires collaboration across the different stakeholder group. So I would like to sincerely thank all our guests, our special guests, Hadia, Dr. Carine, Amrita, Siranush, our organizers, EGIGFA, ISOC Ghana, GDNR, for bringing this important conversation, and our speakers, Godsway, Bilal, and Stephen, for sharing their insights. Sessions like this are important in ensuring that global internet governance conversations are not only heard, but also localized and understood within our context. And finally, to everyone who joined us, thank you for your time and engagement. We hope this session not only informed you, but also encouraged you to take the next steps in participating in internet governance discussion. And I hope to see even more Ghanaian participation in future ICANN meetings. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to continuing these conversations within the Ghana internet community. Thank you so much, and have a lovely evening.